Okay. Hi, my name is Prisca. Welcome back to my channel. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. In today's video, we'll be talking about how to have self-confidence in your body image. So what comes to mind for me about having confidence is being in a place where I love myself and accept myself for the way I am and the way God made me. And I've always grown up with that notion because that's what my mom taught me is I was the way I was because that's how God made me. And I remember having brown hair, brown, dusty brown hair. And sometimes I remember being called Goldilocks, and people would always react so differently when I would go to the hair salon and they'll talk about my hair color. So my mom would frequently just say, "That's how God made you," and I accepted it as that truth. So I was always confident about the way I was. I was confident about how tall and how slender I was, and people would call me skinny, but it wouldn't really hurt me in any way because I never associated being skinny in a negative way. I just always felt skinny was just a term to just really define that my body type was slim and slender, and I didn't allow it to hurt my feelings. So I was always confident in myself. And growing up, I believed in you're in this idea that you are the way you are, and you own how you feel towards yourself. So sometimes I have friends who just openly would say things that I just never really hurt me, like, "Oh, you have such ugly toes," and it never bothered me in any way. The only time that I started having issues with my uh, body image was after childbirth, because you do know that there's just this whole change that takes place immediately after giving birth. My tummy was is had stretched, and immediately after childbirth that just shows, you have a floppy tummy. And because that was my first child, it was really hard for me to kind of just take it all in, and I never really thought as of it in a funny way that my tummy had been flabby, because it kind of it's like a balloon that has been blown and then all of a sudden it just deflates and then it shows that it's been stretched. So I kind of just felt like really shy about that, and that's how I kind of even had this awareness that, wow, it kind of feels so awkward when you just don't really have this confidence in yourself. And I really actually felt it. So over time, I didn't worry about not getting back into shape because I never gained so much baby weight. But I think what just really bothered me was the tummy. And then over time, I just lacked that self-confidence after having like postpartum depression. And I think it was just the whole idea that I was going through something that I just never thought I could go through. And if you want to know more about my story and my experience with postpartum depression, just check the link in the description box. I'll just link that below. And I also talk about how I overcame postpartum depression through self-care. So I'm also going to link that in the description box below. Just watch out for that as well, because I have very good tips for self-care for mental health issues. So when I was going through postpartum depression, I just really just lacked that confidence in myself, because I just couldn't believe I was going through something that I didn't know how to handle. I just didn't know what to do about it. And I would just look down on myself and feel like I was going through a difficult season, and I just didn't know where that inner strength would come from. And I think that's where the lack of confidence in myself came from, because I just didn't know what I was supposed to do and how I was going to get through it. So I was looking for means and ways to just stay motivated every day. And sometimes I just felt defeated, and sometimes I felt like really hurt. And so I remained in that phase of just being not so confident about not just my body image, but even in myself. And it just affected a lot of things. And being a mom for the first time was really hard for me. I just didn't know how to handle house chores. I needed to get back to work, and I needed to get back to school. And for those who don't know, I'm a law student. I'm in my third year, and I only have a year to go. So that was also very hard for me because I didn't know how to juggle life, and life is not something that you just instantly know. Like when you become a mom, you just know and figure out what motherhood is like. And I didn't know how to figure out what motherhood would is like, and how I needed to create this space for a lot of drastic change, which I didn't expect. So what really happened was I just didn't know how to run my day-to-day life. I didn't know how to prioritize things. So one of the things that I ended up doing was serving everything else apart from me. So I didn't think much of myself. I made sure everybody was okay. I made sure everybody in the house was okay except myself. So I really lacked a lot of self-care in the process, and it started to show through. And I just became so unhappy, and I was absolutely stressed, and I wasn't eating right. I wasn't sleeping right in the right, like the right amount of hours. I was not getting rest because I wanted to just serve everybody. I wanted to make sure my husband was good. I wanted to make sure that the baby was good. I wanted to make sure the household was good. I wanted to make sure that the nanny was good. But meanwhile, I wasn't doing much for myself. So when I did that for a whole period, I had lost, I mean, I am small, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I wasn't eating, and it could show. And when I lost weight, I just was not really happy about my body image, and I had a lot of acne breaking through my skin, and the acne itself just made me so irritated and actually worse. And I just felt so uncomfortable about my own skin. I just didn't feel like I was really shining through. I just felt like I was just an exhausted person most of the time. And my confidence started to like chip off. I could look at my body image. I didn't like the way I looked when I got dressed. Most of the things that I was trying to put on were just either looking like they were just hanging on me, or just they were just pretty much off. And it became worse and worse, and I didn't want to be in a place where I disliked myself. And I think that's where I was at. I just disliked myself. I just didn't want to look at myself. And I would look at myself in the mirror, and just my skin would just be so bad, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where is this person headed to, and I just didn't feel that I had the time for me. And that also created um a lot of room for just being so negligent about me at the end of the day. And then I realized that I had lost so much self confidence in myself that I just didn't feel happy about myself. And the only person who could be responsible was me. And I needed to take care of me because I started imposing this idea. And I remember just nagging, like, I take care of everybody else, and nobody has the time for me. Nobody wants to do anything for me. But then I realized that the only job that account I am responsible and should be accountable of taking care of me is me. And if I don't do that for me, nobody else would do it for me the way I would even actually want it to be done. So I started just really upholding this idea that, you know what, if I have to be the best mom and really be the best wife and really be the best person that I can be, because a happy me would make me a happy mother, and then a happy me would mean that I'll be a happy wife, and a happy me would just be a better me when I just go out of my household, get to work. And so I realized that just doing the work on myself was just really what was so important. So it then, having not struggled with a lot of self-confidence issues, that for me just made me realize just how important it is. Because I think for me, the idea that it had always been instilled that this is how God made you and you need to love yourself, and that became so natural, and I didn't have to allow people to say things to me that I felt were their own opinion. But I think for the first time, I was actually holding the what I believed to be true and needed to work through that. And that was the difference. So I really had to kind of get into that place like, okay, I need to intentionally work through this confidence issue because I need to take care of me. And if I need to be happy and love me again and get into that place, then I need to show myself love. So, step one, how do I love myself? So that's how it started for me. So I started taking care of myself. I started sleeping well and just making sure that I rest. When I'm tired, I listen to my body. And when I am hungry, I ate. And I started also exercising because I just felt that I just wanted to also be equally energetic. It had nothing to do with losing weight or, gaining weight, but I just feel that I needed to just have that extra oomph to it. So I did start exercising, I started walking, and then I lately got a skipping rope, and I have time to like just have some minutes if I cannot go out of the house to run or walk, but I can actually just, have a few minutes of skipping and just get it going. And when I started to take care of myself and being intentional about caring for myself, hydrating when I needed to hydrate, and taking the time to really listen to my body and what it was actually saying. And when I started to follow the steps, maybe a good 2 months after, I started really feeling so good about myself, and I started being intentional about also nourishing my skin and making sure that I have good products for my skin. And I started to really be observant about what I eat and how it nourishes my body. And even if I didn't get the instant results like in a day, but I think the practice of just really taking care of myself and listening to my body and really being intentional made me feel like I'm in a place where I really actually feel so good that I'm doing this work for me. And that, when I was going through the phase of having no idea of what motherhood would be like, and I was kind of struggling, it's not easy, and certain people didn't have sympathy, and they'll just, bluntly tell you, oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. And the things that never annoyed me before started to really get into my head. And people say something about my weight, and then it would click like, oh my gosh, I don't look as good as they say that I have lost weight. And it started to bother and worry me because I was thinking about what they were thinking about me. And knowing that those comments were negative, I immediately attached my thoughts towards myself from a negative position, because it people don't have sympathy. They'll say things and not realize what you're going through, and sometimes they'll say things and they think it's okay to say things. But I started to realize that people say things because sometimes they're just so insecure about themselves that they want to take you in the place that they're at. Like they would say, misery loves company. And certain people are just not happy about themselves, and they just feel like they need to just jab at your confidence and take you to that place where they are at. So I had to get out of that by not really allowing negative comments to hurt my feelings, and just be so compassionate towards myself, and realizing that, you know what, I'm experiencing motherhood, and it's not that easy, and it's not simple. And no, these some people have forgotten what motherhood has been like, because probably their kids are all grown up, and they're the ones who are making fun of me now. So I had to be in a place of being compassionate towards myself, and just understanding that this is what I'm going through, and I'm working through it. And a few months after, you know what, I just started to really feel so good about myself, and my acne just started slowly disappearing, and my body just started being in good shape. Like, when I'm saying good shape, when I get dressed in my dress, like, even when I'm talking to myself, looking at myself in the mirror, I'm like, wait, look at you, girl. I feel so good, and I feel like just that I'm embracing that femininity about myself and my body type. And I know certain people want to categorize it as being skinny or being slender, and I went on to check what my body type was, and it just, when I narrowed it close to the features that I have, it just said um, dramatic, yeah, like a dramatic figure, dramatic slender figure, something like that. And I felt good about that. I'm like, yes, dramatic, because I will be putting on a show. I am so happy about myself, and I can allow people to see that I'm happy. And that's what it means to me, being confident about your body image shouldn't have to be what people think you should be, but it's about embracing just who you are, and accepting that this is you. And God took the time to make you. He really took time, and he knew, when you understand that God makes all things so beautiful, so good, you really have to be in a place of knowing that you are a product of the entire work of what God says is fabulous, and you are a product of his amazingness. And that's how you just know that God doesn't make mistakes. And I always have these conversations with um friends, because sometimes friends will be like, how did you get how are you so slim, how do you maintain this weight? And people who come from a negative perspective will sometimes be like, oh, so do you starve yourself, like, they're not really saying something that's nice, but they want to be put you in a place like, do you do things that make you so unhappy to be where you're at, when you know that that's just who you are? And I'll be like, no, I do eat. I've never had a diet in my entire life, and this is how God made me. And if that other person doesn't appreciate it, then that's not my job to tell me that I feel good about myself. Self-confidence is not about thinking that people have to compliment you in order for you to feel good about yourself. It's the other way around. You should feel so good that even compliments just are just the extra. You know what I mean? It's not about what people perceive about you. And this is what I always table talk with my friends, that it's just about knowing that this is who you are, and accepting you. If you want to change anything about your body image, it should be as a result of probably knowing, okay, does this work against my health? Is where I'm at working against good health? And for me to be where I am, or having gained weight or lost weight, is it because of a void that I was trying to fill up? Because if you're trying to fill up a void, it just never gets filled, and it just becomes worse. And this is where maybe people gain more weight and more weight, or lose weight and lose weight, because that void just never gets filled. But when you do it from a place because you just love yourself and I want to take care of me, then working out and trying to lose weight would definitely work out for you, because you know that you're not trying to fill any void. You're not trying to do it for any other person. You're not trying to please anybody. And it's not because you want to get more compliments about yourself, but it's just genuinely being happy. And I think that's what's important, is that your feelings towards yourself are so genuine that if any other person had to say anything negative, it wouldn't even drive you insane at all, because you know that your feelings are so genuine that you feel safe to be who you are. And that's what body confidence is to me. I cannot lie. The time when I was not confident about myself, I remember one time going out with my husband, and I just really wanted to cry at the table because I was so uncomfortable with where I was at, and I just didn't want to look at the taking pictures and looking into the camera. I didn't want that because I just felt so bad about myself. So I think that your immediate attachment and your immediate response towards yourself, that is the work that you just need to do. And you shouldn't be doing work on behalf of other people. Like, I have people who think that I'm so skinny that I need to eat. Like, no, I'm not going to eat for you. I was once pregnant, and yes, I was eating for me and my baby. But I'm not going to do it because you think I need, oh, I need to have this figure because you say that that's when I will look good. So I'm not going to eat for two people. You know, I have people who would say, you know what, the only good thing about your people like you is that you don't have to struggle with what you when going shopping. You won't have to struggle buying clothes. And I just brush it off because I know that's not the only good thing about my body type. You know, the great thing about, there's so many good things about my body type, is it is wonderfully made. I was wonderfully created. God took the entire time and he was patient, and because I was a product of his creation, I am awesome. I am fantastic. You know what? I am spectacular. I am spectacular. I am I am a wonder. You know what I mean? No one should figure it out for you and say that this is what beauty is like. No. It's something that just you need to appreciate about yourself, and embrace the unique qualities about yourself, and embrace the differences, the things that make you so different from people. And just to add on to the extra, is that things like getting dressed and doing my hair and doing makeup, I enjoy that now because of the work that I did in that period of time when I needed to be in a place of just taking care of myself. So things like uh finding the right outfits, stuff that make you feel good, whether it's your hair or your personal style, or your shoes, or the accessories and handbags and all these things that add on to the image that you see in the reflection of the mirror before you walk out of the room. All those other things will just add on to the top, but the major work is just inside of you, and how you feel about yourself and how you carry yourself through. So if you enjoyed watching this video, I would love to encourage you to subscribe so that you can get more videos from my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, loves. Bye bye.